Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another live episode of Strong Style here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always by the man down there in Orlando, holding it down. Are you in the middle of your move still, or have you fully moved in, Aaron Turner?
I haven't moved yet. The closing date is June 8th, so we got a couple more weeks before we're homebound, and then probably give me another week to get the studio set up. New mic, new camera, new backdrop. Yeah, we're doing it up, but I'm excited about today's episode because we get to talk about one of my favorites. You see him right there.
That's right.
You see him right here. The T-shirt, Mr. Monday Night, Mr. Friday Night, Mr. Pay-Per-View, the whole effing show. Rob Van Dam, my second favorite wrestler of all time. I'm so excited to talk about him.
Whoa, second favorite. Who's your first favorite?
Bret the Hitman Hart. Like, come on,
not this again. Jesus Christ, not this again. And we'll also be today. We're talking about RVD versus Jerry Lynn from ECW's 1999 pay-per-view, Living Dangerously. We'll also be doing our review of Dark Side of the Ring, the Road Warriors, not the Owen Hart one. Well, I know the Owen Hart one. We both know it dropped last night. We are going to put that up on Friday, our review, and talk a little more wrestling news as well. So we'll do that on Friday. But today we're talking about the Road Warriors, Doc, and we'll touch on some wrestling news like Mike Tyson, and maybe we'll talk about that Ember Moon statement if we have enough time on the show. But where do you want to start, Aaron Turner? Where would you like to begin?
Let's go ahead and talk about, let's start it off weak, and let's talk about Dark Side of the Ring, the Road Warriors. We can just start it off right there.
Damn, week already.
Bad news first, I guess.
All right. Oh yeah. Well, this was the latest episode. Well, not the latest, but one of the most recent episodes of Dark Side of the Ring. It showed last week on Vice TV, and you could watch it there if you don't have it, or if you have an app on your Roku or Apple TV, you could watch it there as well. And this profiling the history and the legacy of the Road Warriors, arguably the greatest tag team ever, you could say, winning titles in multiple federations. We got to hear about these guys and when they got to know each other, like in high school, and there were these big dudes, and how the one guy walked up and slapped him on the chest, and Animal and Hawk, that's the two guys that were there, Animal and Hawk, that was their names, and that's how they met, and they became like fast friends, and all the stuff that happened, and of course what led to ultimately to the demise of Hawk there due to his substance abuse and all that got involved just when he had turned his life around and was embracing God, had gotten married, and was kind of moving on with his life. He passed away from probably years of the abuse he had done to his body. So Aaron, why did you think this was a weak episode, my friend?
Because there was nothing. I mean, of course, alcoholism and drug abuse is awful. But there's nothing dark about it, in my opinion. Like, okay, so the Road Warriors were a tag team. Yeah, they probably could be the greatest tag team of all time. And then it was like, and Hawk died. It's like, okay, well, where's the controversy, man? Like where's it at? Like,
but isn't it tragic? Isn't it tragic though?
Of course,
because the potential there.
Of course it is, but the Road Warriors at this time were already past their prime. Like, it's not like Hawk was going to come back and they were going to go on some magical run. When the Road Warriors were in WWE in 1997, 1998 during the Attitude Era, they were already past their prime. Wow. So it wasn't like you were getting the prime Road Warriors anyway, and especially in 2000, 2001. No, man, this was not peak Road Warriors. Like I said, they arguably the greatest tag team of all time. What's funny, in that documentary they mentioned Hawk being drunk or hungover for their SummerSlam match against Money Incorporated. Yeah, it's an excellent match, man. it's actually pretty good. Hawk goes for the Doomsday Device and he can't get it. It's actually one of my favorite tag team matches that they had.
Wow.
But yeah, they're NWA legends. I mean, I'm not going to dispute that any way, shape, or form, but it's just like, okay, something happened. Of course, it's tragic. It's awful. Nobody wants that to happen, but it's not like Herb Abrams where he's covered in baby oil with cocaine and hookers. It's not Dino Bravo getting assassinated. It's not Dr. D. David Schultz getting blackballed from the entire industry. It's not the Chris Benoit story. It's not the Owen Hart story. It's just like, dude, this is weak. Like, I don't know if this was an Animal thing that they did just because they wanted to talk to Animal. Like, I don't know what the deal was with that. But the reason I say all this is because, not that it has to be like, it's not like common knowledge. Like, I'm sure it's not. I'm sure you'd have to dive in to find out this information about Hawk. But it's like, there you have the WWE actually made an excellent documentary It's on the network. I think it's called like the last run of the LOD, or the Tread Life and Death of LOD, or something like that. But it's really excellent, and it talks more. It's basically the same kind of deal. Like, they talk to Animal, they talk to Smash, who was in this, Barry Darso. They talk to more people that they used to work with and be around. They mentioned that bar Grandma B's in the Dark Side of the Ring. They go more in depth about Grandma B's in the Road Warrior documentary on the network. They go more in depth into the Draw stuff. They go more in depth into Hawk's life. The only thing they don't really talk about is his New Japan, and when Hawk went to New Japan to reset the gimmick with another person. They don't really talk about that, but it has all of that stuff in there.
Yeah.
So I don't know why this needed to be made, for one, and I don't understand how it fits into the Dark Side of the Ring stuff. I don't get it.
That's a fair point. I think it's certainly an approach to have on this thing. I liked it. I thought it was a great trip down memory lane. And maybe you're right, Aaron. What was the point of this if you know most of this already? There were some stuff that I did not know, how they got together, how they got to know each other, how long they had known each other. And in hearing from the brothers of Hawk, hearing his brothers talk about it, and the emotional toll that his loss still takes on them, which we saw them visibly get upset a couple of times, that lets you know this guy was truly beloved, even though, he could stand up Animal at some shows, or not show up in the best condition, or drink all night. And I think it does fit because it's a tragic loss. This guy had just turned his life around. He was embracing God. He was gotten married, a beautiful young woman. He was, kind of turning it around, and would have had years of, some positive living, maybe raising some kids and all of that. And it's taken away from him because of the years of abuse he'd done to himself when he was younger. So it's not maybe much of a tragedy within the world of professional wrestling. Maybe it's more of a human tragedy, that because he lived his life to such excess, when the price came to, when the ferryman, or whatever it is, the piper came, and the price had to be paid, it was at an inopportune moment when he had just kind of like come to terms with some of his demons and was turning his life around. So there's a tragedy in that way. But I take your point that there are numerous wrestlers who have died, before their time, due to their abuse, or due to substance abuse, or due to their own abuse of alcohol, or what have you, and eventually passed away. I mean, you could have do a whole Eddie documentary, I imagine, on this as well. Eddie himself dying, as we saw in the Benoit documentary. So that could be approached as well. So I take your point, absolutely, but I think it was nice to get a little bit of time with the LOD. I didn't know that there's a WWE documentary on the Road Warrior. So now you've put that into my queue in my head to go and watch that as well, because I love these guys, man. I mean, I grew up watching these guys on the more independent wrestling stuff. And when they were, when you catch them on WC, I think it was WCW or Georgia Championship Wrestling, whenever they showed up, I was like so blown away by this overpowering, because we've seen big dudes before through the history of wrestling, but there was something about these dudes and their athletic ability that was so different from everybody else who'd been tag teams at that size before. The pads with the spikes on it,
cool.
Right? The Raiders fans like adopted that with their silver and black stuff. So all of it kind of bleeding into feeling like these guys were the baddest mofos on the planet.
Well, I remember like when I was a kid and the Legion of Doom would come into town, they would sell like the styrofoam shoulder pads with the spikes. And I remember like begging my dad. I was like, "Dad, please, like these are the coolest freaking things ever. Please, please." And he's like, "No, I'm getting you a Hacksaw Jim Duggan 2x4. I was like, "All right, fine." But yeah, I mean, like when you were a kid, like that was the coolest thing in the world. If you had those LOD shoulder pads, son, yeah. Like you were like the coolest dude on planet Earth. But yeah, man, like I remember them most for, their style in the ring was just smash mouth. Like you had, they mention it, they're talking about how like the Hart Foundation, Brett was more the technician, Anvil was the big guy. But in this tag team, they were both the big guy. So they were both like throwing each other or throwing people around, which was great. And I love their promos back in the day. I just remember Animal would get on there, yell something incoherent at the microphone, like, "Oh, we're going to beat your ass." And then he would say, "Tell him, Hawk." And then Hawk would be like, "Yeah, what a rush." And that's just how they would end it. And man, how good was that? Like that's people still remember the "What a Rush" from from way back. You can't get past that. And I don't mean to like downplay the legacy of the Road Warriors. That's not what I'm trying to do. I just don't think that this was as well done as it could have been, and I just don't think it really met the mark for Dark Side of the Ring is we have like the sandwich between the UWF episode, which I really enjoyed, and then the Owen Hart episode, which we watched last night, which we could save for later. But I mean, we've both watched it. It's completely different than this one. It's a different tone, it's different everything.
Yeah, it certainly gives us more to talk about with that one. I think this was more of a profile more than anything else of these guys that you had to fit into a 45-minute time limit, and so in there you got to see some of their early stuff, some of their early matches and their legacy as it was building, as it was growing. I like seeing Precious Paul. That was great to see Ellering in there giving his thoughts and his 2 cents. The idea of the things he talked about behind the scenes about the van, the fact that he took the van to the funeral.
That was awesome.
That he had picked them up in when they first arrived. I mean, all of that, that's the aspect of wrestling that people don't talk about enough, is the behind the scenes, hanging out, traveling, the road stuff, from back those times. I know nowadays they put a camera in the car and put it in WWE, say hanging out, right, road trip with blah, blah, blah. But back then, though, if you put a camera on those road trips, that's a show. That's a show back then. Certainly a lot of like unsavory things happening, certainly substance abuse, certainly partying, drinking, all kinds of stuff going on there. And who knows what shenanigans they got themselves into back in those days. That's an interesting reality show, to say the least. But it was nice to hear about some more of that backstage stuff. But it was good to hear from Animal, his reaction to when Hawk was like kind of going too far. The other thing too, first of all, their finisher is maybe the greatest tag team finisher ever. I mean, it is brutal. The clothesline off someone's shoulder, flipping and down, and you're done. But hearing that Vince was in the club taking the wrestlers' finishers in a strip club was incredible to hear.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Like, for every bad Vince McMahon story and Vince McMahonism, there's one where you just go, that's amazing. Yeah. And that was one of them. I mean, I've heard of stories of these guys doing this to each other, like doing their finishes or doing something. I've heard stories where Gerald Briscoe would grab a rook, like there'd be a rookie on the road and they would tell him to go mess with Gerald Briscoe. But what they didn't realize, that Gerald Briscoe's a shooter from way back. So when you go try to mess with Gerald Briscoe, he'll tie you in a friggin' knot. And he's like 70 years old. This dude would do it back then. So it's just one of those cool things that you hear about in the business. You don't really think that happens, but it's really cool. I do want to mention something real quick. Thad in the chat, I'm watching it here, said he didn't realize that Animal and Johnny Ace were brothers. Yeah. Yeah, they are. And don't forget that Animal's son, James Laurinaitis, was a great linebacker for the Rams. And I believe, I don't know if he's still playing or not, but he was a really great linebacker there for a couple of years at the Rams. He was a real hard hitter. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the family legacy lives on, and Johnny Ace married the Bella's mom, and right. Yeah. So
I didn't know he was John Laurinaitis' brother. When they said Laurinaitis, I was like, wait, what? And I looked it up and I go, you got to be kidding me. Because two people couldn't look more different. Couldn't look less like brothers than John Laurinaitis and Animal. So I was shocked that they were brothers, for God's sake. And I guess he doesn't appear because he's still employed by WWE. But does he appear in the documentary you mentioned on the WWE? Does John Laurinaitis appear talking about that?
I think so. I think he's in there briefly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Any last words about this one, my man?
No, not really. Just, of course it was a bridge to the Owen Hart episode, which just, oh my God, like we'll talk about that on Friday, but damn, like it just didn't feel like it was worthy of Dark Side of the Ring. Probably one of the weakest episodes of the season, if not the weakest. Wow.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, there we go. There's Aaron Turner's and mine's mini review of this episode of Dark Side of the Ring for the Road Warriors. What did you think? Let us know in the chat. You can send in your super chats and your Streamlabs. All of that is open. Thanks to the 26 of you who are watching us live. Give some love to Gramash. There, Sean Barreto. Good to see you. Assad SQ, Corey Flemings, J Dog. What's up? Let's get ready to talk Schmodown. Let's see. Thad Pettit is in here. Salvador Navarrete as well. Western Iro telling me that I just missed Alex Damon on Roxy's stream. Little show Schmodown reference. Ferris Mathana. Thank you, Ferris, for coming back again and joining us here. He was a major, a middle linebacker for the St. Louis Rams, he says. So agreeing with you on Laurinaitis there. I forgot that he'd been in the NFL as well, his son. So a lot of stuff here, a lot of legacy, certainly for the Road Warriors. And yeah, if you haven't seen the LOD documentary, documentary, as Aaron mentioned on WWE. Give this episode a shot. See if you like it. See if you like getting a taste of the Road Warriors, and then go see the other documentary to get as Aaron said, a little more deeper take on these two gentlemen and what they were able to accomplish. That being Road Warrior Hawk Michael Hegstrand and Road Warrior Animal Joseph Laurinaitis. All right, Aaron, let's jump into our match of the week. Match of the week: RVD versus Jerry Lynn. 1999's Living Dangerously. Give us the background on this, and let's get into it.
Yeah, you damn right. You damn right. RVD, Living Dangerously. Jerry. I keep saying like RVD, but Jerry Lynn's great too. But Jerry Lynn was a world traveler before this. If you don't know Jerry Lynn, he's a guy that was really innovative in that WCW cruiserweight division as Mr. JL. He was under a mask, but he was one of those guys with Guerrero, Malenko, Benoit, Jericho. One of those guys that was always in those great matches that you saw, but he was kind of like the lower card of the cruiserweight. So he was just kind of one cusp on the way from being out, but he found his calling in ECW when he jumped from WCW to ECW. And that was the start, was him and Rob Van Dam in a feud together. He had a minor feud with Just Incredible before this. Oh, yeah. But it was really him and Rob Van Dam that really got it going. And at this time in 1999, Rob Van Dam's, he's made in WCW. He's holding both the ECW television and tag team championships with his partner, Sabu. And as you guys, big fans of Sabu out there, my best friend Jason, huge Sabu fan. But nice. Yeah, man, the thing about ECW, and you hear people talk about tape trading a lot, and you may not know what that means. A lot of people, like, and I know, like, you
younger generation.
Well, I don't necessarily mean it like that, but like, you got these VHS tapes, and you go to like your buddy's house. It's like, dude, I got the free weekend of pay-per-view, and there was this weird pay-per-view from like Japan where these dudes were cutting each other with glass. Do you want to see it? Yes, I do. And then like you would trade it with your buddy who had like a copy of ECW November to Remember that he got from Sam Goody, that he was like 12, and the guy at the counter said you have to be 18 to buy that. And he said, come on, man, like, come on. You had to have your brother or your older brother or sister or your dad buy you the ECW pay-per-view because it's like 18 and above. So these were hard to get back in the day. I remember being a young kid, and my buddy Matt he'd be like, have you heard of this Rob Van Dam guy? I'm like, no, what's he do? And he's just like, you got to watch this match between like him and Sabu or him and Taz. And it's just like, okay. So that immediately became a Rob Van Dam fan because I love Jean-Claude Van Damme. Love all that stuff. Right. And he's essentially the wrestling version of Jean-Claude Van Damme, hence the name Rob Van Dam, because he looks so much like him, and he does like the spin kicks and the stretches and stuff like that. So it was like, it was a win-win, man. Like, how cool is that to have like your favorite action star on the screen kicking wrestling ass and Rob Van Dam? But I mean, it is worth noting that in 1997, the ECW had a invasion, like before the invasion where they bought WCW, before WWE bought WCW and ECW. There was a small ECW invasion where Rob Van Dam was on Monday Night Raw, hence the Mr. Monday Night he called himself afterwards. RVD, Sabu, Taz, Perry Saturn, a bunch of ECW guys showed up on Raw and were beating up WWE superstars, trying to make them look big, and it was a deal between Vince and Paul Heyman so that ECW could get a little bit of a rub and that they could kind of power past WCW a little bit there, a little bit of a partnership. But it is worth noting that by this time in 1999, Rob Van Dam is by far the most popular of ECW wrestlers on the roster. That's why when he comes out in his entrance, it's all cheers. Yeah. And they cheer Jerry Lynn as well, even though RVD is the big heel. Right. So, I mean, this is Rob Van Dam at the height of his powers, and if you don't like Rob Van Dam, what the hell is wrong with you? Because this dude he's outstanding. Like, everything Rob Van Dam does is outstanding. He's a hell of a guy as well. Like, I've got to talk to him a couple times, like at shows and stuff. Excellent guy, John. You got to talk to him. Like, just the chillest MF around. He's got 2 girlfriends. He's all right in my book. But But I guess we could get to the match now. I mean, tell me what you thought of the match. I know this is one that you weren't really sure about, so I kind of want to hear your thoughts first.
Well, first of all, let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
RVD is certainly someone that back in the 90s when this was all happening with ECW, like I was in college. I was back at Florida State after having served for a few years in the Army. I was at Florida State, and this was the height of professional wrestling when it was all happening. The Attitude Era had begun a little bit earlier than that, but you got ECW in its fucking prime at this time during the late 90s. And so that was the thing that there was a lot of tape trading, or if you could get the pay-per-view, everybody came over, drank, and watched the stuff. There was a restaurant, I can't remember the name of the restaurant, it was like kind of a BW3 type place there in Tallahassee that showed all the pay-per-views, WCW, ECW, and WWE at the time, or WWE rather. So, and we would go and watch all the pay-per-views. RVD was one of these guys that the first time you saw him, you never forgot him. You never forgot him. And he just had this charisma, this dynamism to himself that just you could never let go of, And so when you watch it, when Jerry Lynn got him into the situation, Jerry Lynn is one of these guys that's got all the talent in the world, but for whatever reason could not achieve the heights of Jericho or RVD or all these other like quote unquote cruiserweights who became massive stars. He became more of an indie star, right? And more of that kind of thing. And RVD ascended to higher planes to exist with his name and his brand, but Jerry not so much. So when you told me, hey, it's RVD versus Jerry Lynn, I was excited because I've never heard anyone tell me that Jerry Lynn has given a bad match. And there are connections here with Kenny Omega to Jerry Lynn, very much so in my mind. I think there's absolutely connections here. And so you go into the RVD situation and you go, okay, what are we going to get in this match from 1999, 20 years ago? I think that's right. 21 years. Yeah, 21 years ago to watch this match. And, I forgot about RVD's boy with the whistle. I forgot about his manager there.
Fonzie.
Yeah. What's that?
Bill Alfonso.
Yeah, Bill Alfonso. Yeah, I forgot how annoying that could be when I would watch his matches, because I know if I'm the other wrestler, it annoys the living piss out of me. But everything leading up to this match, I was excited about for RVD. I didn't really count Jerry Lynn that much. Like you said, he'd been a feud with Just Incredible, another guy who could pop up and then go right back down again. But certainly when he was in a good feud, he was fun to watch. But I didn't think too much of Just Incredible, and so by extension, not too much of Jerry Lynn. So when he was stepping up here to take on RVD, I was excited to see what we're going to get. So I didn't see this pay-per-view back then when it was done, because I think it was right when I was graduating from Florida State. So to go and revisit it now for this show, I was excited to do that.
Yeah, I mean, holy crap! I don't think I saw this one live. I think this was a tape trade deal. This was a hey, my parents are asleep. Let's watch this match real quick. Yeah, not that my dad cared. My dad never cared about stuff like that, but my mom would have probably given a crap. So
right.
Yeah, so this is like let's sneak and watch some of this blood and boobs and stuff. But the first thing that you have to notice is that Rob Van Dam comes out to those cheers.
Yeah,
and then immediately you're getting a different match. Like I would probably liken it to something almost like on the indies or something in AEW, like more faster paced stuff like that. Like it's not cruiserweight-ish. Like they do move fast, they do some jumpy moves, but like it reminds me really of like what AEW the product is, just two guys solid in the ring that are put together, and it's just magic. Like I know these guys hadn't wrestled before this. It was just magic that they put them together. Yeah. And what would happen? Oh, I don't know. It's like one of the greatest matches of the last decade here in 1999. Like, it's just unbelievable. Like, you start with Rob Van Dam hits all the beats here. He does all the Rob Van Dam stuff. He does the spin kick onto the guardrail, jumps into the crowd. Jerry Lynn's doing a cross body into the crowd. Like, everything is just excellent and pitch perfect. And you don't see some of the stuff coming, which is great.
Right.
So Rob Van Dam at one point has Jerry Lynn in a Mexican surfboard. And he has a chair. He has a chair underneath him. I'm like, what is he doing? And then he kicks Jerry Lynn off of the surfboard, and Jerry Lynn just plants right on the chair. It's pitch perfect. Like, how would you even think to do that? And then there's another part where RVD's trying to sweep Jerry Lynn's leg. He jumps over it, tries to go high, he ducks under it, and then when Rob Van Dam goes low again, he leg drops him on the back of the head. Like, it's just the way that they do that kind of stuff just catches you off guard, and you're like, whoa. Like, I didn't expect that, because the way it's done, it's like in traditional wrestling, is like, all right, he misses a spin kick. Okay, he's going to try to roll him up for a pin. No, he's just going to drop his ass on his neck. Like, it's just that cool, man. Like, right on top of a chair. And then Jerry Lynn hits a gut wrench power bomb from the top rope onto the chair. And it's just like, dude, like it was a 3-way match is what it ended up being. It ended up being Rob Van Dam versus Jerry Lynn versus a chair, because they used that damn chair so much, and it was so integral to this match. It's not often that you can do that. Like, they say some of the greatest wrestlers in the world could wrestle with a broom and make it interesting. These two dudes wrestled a chair and made it interesting, like made it the piece of the match. Like, just so much going on here. That chair just accentuates not even how great these guys are using a prop, but just like ECW in general was different. They didn't just sit around and whack each other in the head with it. It was more nuanced than that. And it's so hard to do. I hope that people go back and watch this match and understand what I'm saying, because it's so difficult to do that. It blows my mind.
I agree with you. I mean, the chair situation where they're, handing the chair off to each other on the top rope, and then Rob hits the Van Daminator after after Jerry Lynn has hit him twice with the chair, hits him, and Jerry goes off that onto the table. Hell, the other one when he does the DDP off the top rope and Rob Van Dam's head bounces off the table, not even breaking the table. That was scary as hell to watch, because you saw the divot of his head in the middle of the table as they tumbled off onto the ground. So I thought that was a fantastic situation as well. And yes, RVD, as you mentioned, jumping out into the crowd, doing that huge standing frog splash into the crowd there on top of Jerry Lynn. All of it that he was doing, but Jerry Lynn himself giving as good as he got with these incredible moves himself on RVD and putting him through what he put him through, all his paces, and everything that happened inside and outside of the ring was just so vibrant and fast and quick and explosive. And they were still able to take pauses at the right moment to let the audience take a breath for just a second before they did the next crazy thing they were going to do. And I thought this was a great back and forth, and it leads to a time match or the end of time match, whatever you call it, they hit the time limit.
Time limit draw,
Time limit draw, right? And the referee hands the belt over to Jerry Lynn, saying Jerry Lynn won. And I didn't understand how that works. I thought if you had time, the tie goes to the champion. I don't know how Jerry Lynn won the belt. But then Jerry Lynn says 5 more minutes. And so this is like an old school dusty finish where you think the one thing is going to happen, which is that he's going to win this belt and walk away from this thing. But then he is the architect of his own demise because he wants the clean victory over RVD. He asks for the extra 5 minutes. Somehow the manager gets to say if there's another 5 minutes. They negotiate with the referee. No GM comes down. No owner of the business comes down and says, go ahead, 5 minutes. It's the ref who says, okay, if you both want another 5 minutes, let's do another 5 minutes. And it's maybe the best 5 minutes of the match, to be honest with you.
It's true.
Yeah, it's so incredible. It's like a mini match within the 5 minutes of the 20-minute match you just watched. It was so fast-paced in those 5 minutes. And then Rob Van Dam hitting that Van Daminator on Jerry Lynn with the chair, and it's done. It's complete, and it is fantastic. What a great – I rewatched the match again after it was over because I just was enjoying a time when you could get this and have fun with it,
Yeah, I mean, the deal is you get a time limit draw, and then it's like you said, it's like the draw would go to the champion.
Yeah.
For some reason, they're giving it to Jerry Lynn. I'm just like, I don't understand that at all. I don't remember that part. But then Jerry Lynn, being the smart guy that he is to get over with an ECW crowd, looked like a badass. Hey, give me 5 more minutes. I want to beat this guy 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. I don't want no bullcrap draw finish. This is one of the greatest athletes in the world. I want to beat him 1, 2, 3. How cool is that? That's really great. But then, like you said, architect of his own demise, Van Daminator, and then probably one of the coolest 5-star frog splashes you'll ever see, because Rob Van Dam literally jumps over halfway across the ring to deliver that 5-star frog splash.
Yeah.
And looks like he could have gone even further. Like I said, this is Rob Van Dam at the height of his powers. He can still do that 5-star frog splash, but he ain't jumping halfway, or like over halfway across the ring to hit it. And when Jerry Lynn is down, like I'm sitting there, I'm telling my wife, like she's kind of like peeking in on it. I'm like, he's going to jump all the way from the top rope to hit that. And she's like, no way. And then he did it like with ease. And she's like, oh, wow. She's very, very impressed by Mr. Van Dam. But,
and I would argue real quick, Aaron, that's maybe the greatest frog splash I've ever seen RVD do.
You might be right.
from the difficulty level alone, but to nail it, I mean, literally jack almost to the point where his heels are touching the top of his fists, and then coming down perfectly on top of Jerry, not barely getting there, not overshooting it, completely landing perfectly on top of Jerry Lynn. It was incredible. It was an incredible physical feat.
And the good thing that Rob Van Dam does when he hits that frog splash is he kind of bounces off and like grabs his ribs, because he knows like, oh God, it hurt me too. Yeah. Like it just makes it even better. But yeah, he gets 1, 2, 3, beats Jerry Lynn, and then continues to be the champion for about the next year and a half, 2 years. Rob Van Dam was television champion. It was one of the biggest title runs in history until he had an unfortunate ankle injury against Rhino, where I'm kind of jumping ahead here a little bit, but in 2000, when these companies are, WCW, WWE are kind of closing the gap here on each other. In 2000, Mike Awesome was the ECW World Heavyweight Champion. Mike Awesome was over like Rover, man.
Yeah.
One of the toughest dudes you'll ever see. Some of the greatest ECW matches of all time. And it was supposed to be champion versus champion. Mike Awesome versus Rob Van Dam. And it was going to be badass. It was going to be one of the best ECW pay-per-views ever. RVD legitimately breaks his ankle against Rhino. So the match never happens. Mike Awesome goes to WCW. ECW folds, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But, for Jerry Lynn, I do want to talk about Jerry Lynn real quick.
Sure.
He was always chasing that TV title with RVD, and he never won it, which kind of made it cooler for him to always chase. And if you remember season 1 of Glow, when, I'm going that far back, when Welfare Queen beat Liberty Bell for the championship. Yeah. And they said, why? They asked Mark Maron's character, why would you do that? And he's like, it's all about the chase. It's exactly right. It's all about the chase of the title. That's how you get somebody over to them, for them eventually to keep losing and then eventually get that title. But unfortunately for Jerry Lynn, he never got that TV title. But, unfortunately for Jerry Lynn, he also broke his ankle, keeping him out of action for about a year. But he would come back. He would beat Just Incredible for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship in October of 2000. So, it wasn't all bad for Jerry Lynn. He did get to that top level in ECW when it kind of was on the way out. He did have a run with TNA and Ring of Honor following ECW when it folded. Officially retired in 2012, and you can see him now on AEW. He's a referee. He's a coach. He's a backstage producer. So Jerry Lynn is still much in the business and teaching the young guys.
He's a lifer, man. Do you think I'm off base, with the Kenny Omega comparison? Because it feels like Kenny Omega is the second coming of Jerry Lynn, except Kenny's gotten a little bit more over with the fans than Jerry Lynn has. The high flying stuff, the risky stuff, the craziness, the long hair, all of the blonde hair. It seems correlative to me. Am I off base?
I didn't think about that at first, but I think you're right. I think the way, in Kenny Omega's body as well, Kenny Omega's jacked. Yeah. A lot of people don't realize how jacked that he is because he's going, you see freaking John Cena every week, but Kenny Omega's jacked, and so was Jerry Lynn. Yeah. You go back and look at that dude is shredded. Yeah. So, they definitely have a fast-paced style, and some of the things that Jerry Lynn can do in making things look super easy in his facial reactions, they do remind me of Kenny Omega a little bit. I think Kenny Omega is quite a bit better than Jerry Lynn. No offense to Jerry Lynn,
fair point.
But I do see similarities in their game for sure.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's a fantastic match, and I appreciate you putting it on the list for us to watch for the show, because it's always nice to revisit the old school days when no holds barred in these matches, especially with the ECW. The best of ECW, some of the best ever in professional wrestling, because you're watching the height of indie wrestlers getting into it without limitations or without parameters, and bringing out the best that they can bring out, and having willing partners willing to take those hits, willing to take those bumps in exchange for the other partner willing to take those bumps and those hits as well, to entertain the fans and to deliver a great show. And when you're an independent promotion, or you're up and coming promotion like ECW, you want to deliver the best matches so you can drag some eyes away from WWE and WCW to watch your product, not to leave them necessarily, but at least to watch your product and become a fan of your product. And matches like this certainly did that for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I want to mention a few more things about Van Dam before we wrap it up. Obviously, in my eyes, he's a Hall of Famer, no doubt. Whether they put him in the WWE Hall of Fame, he's obviously liked by Vince McMahon. There was a story that came out not too long ago that Rob Van Dam calls Vince McMahon once a year to thank him for his career.
Wow.
And thank him for all the opportunities they gave him. And Vince takes the call every time, he said. He said he never goes to voicemail, never nothing. If he has to, he'll call him right back. But Vince always takes the call or calls him right back and tells him, no problem, all that kind of, which is great. How awesome is that? So they have a great relationship. RVD's been in the video games. He's not currently with WWE right now. He's with Impact Wrestling,
right?
TNA, if you will. But, Rob Van Dam came over in that 01 storyline, Invasion storyline. He was still injured, so he wasn't really in those great matches right off the bat. He had an excellent match with Jeff Hardy to what do you call that? Merge the Intercontinental title and the Hardcore Championship. It's a great match that they had. RVD had great feuds with Eddie Guerrero, of course, Brock Lesnar as well, and of course, in one of the craziest crowds you'll ever see at ECW One Night Stand, he beat John Cena for the WWE Championship, which is wild as hell. I mean, Intercontinental Tag Hardcore World Heavyweight Champion. How can you not think Rob Van Dam is a Hall of Famer? Yeah. Just one of the best dudes out there, still doing his thing in a more limited capacity, but still one of the greatest personalities, one of the coolest dudes you'll ever see out there.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, man. Yeah, and that pay-per-view, that One Night Stand pay-per-view is quietly one of the best pay-per-views ever, like ever, just top to bottom, because you could feel the anger of the fans flowing through the ECW wrestlers at the big corporate wrestlers, and vice versa. The big corporate wrestlers looking down on, whether heel or face, looking down on the ECW wrestlers. I loved that. Loved it to pieces, and that match was incredible. Maybe the best Cena match ever, to be honest with you. Maybe this side of the match he had with Lesnar, which I thought was incredible too. You could argue, you could make a case, I imagine. Let's hit a couple of super chats real quick. Thanks to Ferris Mathana. Ferris, he said, "Get you a hype man like Bill Alfonso. That goddamn whistle." Yeah, agreed, Ferris. Agreed. And then Thad Pettit, he said, "Please do a Tajiri match soon." Ooh, Tajiri.
Thad, did we talk? I think I've talked to Thad about this in the chat. I think you mentioned that last time. And I said, "Oh God, I love Tajiri. I love the Green Mist. I love all that stuff." Yeah, we'll do some ECW Tajiri. Let's stay away from the WWE stuff.
Fair enough. All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's cool. I like Tajiri as well. I'm a big fan of his stuff. Let's see here. We got any Streamlabs? No Streamlabs have come in yet for the show, but a couple of super chats. So I wanted to give them a little bit of love there. We got 33 y'all watching us live. Please give us a like if you're watching this right now. If you haven't given us a like, swing that cursor button over and give it some love. Give it a like, and we'll keep doing our thing for sure. All right. What are we moving on to now? Yeah, and let us know what you think about the match. Watch it. And tweet it to Aaron and I. You see our Twitter handles right there. Tweet at us and let us know if that was a damn good match, or if you had never seen that match, what you thought about it in that way. All right, what are we up to next there, Aaron?
We got Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson will be showing up at this weekend's Double or Nothing. So we're finally talking about AEW, albeit in a smaller capacity, because there's not a lot going on in wrestling these days with the coronavirus. But Mike Tyson will be showing up at Double or Nothing this weekend to present either Cody or Lance Archer with the TNT Championship. They are, of course, facing off in the finals at Double or Nothing. Mike Tyson, man, has a great history with professional wrestling.
Yes.
Of course, you remember him in the WrestleMania 14 with Stone Cold Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels, and him and Stone Cold in that classic Raw segment, which I think is quite possibly the greatest Monday Night Raw moment of all time, when Stone Cold Steve Austin flips off Mike Tyson and they get into it. Like, it's outstanding. Yeah. And so we got Mike Tyson coming in, being the presenter in this. There's no way in hell Mike Tyson doesn't get involved and knock the hell out of somebody. So I wonder if it's going to be MJF. I have a feeling my finger is pointed to MJF. I think it will be him because he's such a little dick. So I think it'll be him that Mike Tyson decides to knock out for some reason. Right. But very interesting to see Mike back, especially in a time where he's not young, but we have all these concerns with the the COVID-19, all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of interesting that they're bringing in an outsider like that, who's got a little bit of age on him for this. But I'm going to be excited to watch. I'm going to watch Double or Nothing anyway, so why not?
I think I'm enjoying the AEW programs better than the WWE programs in terms of being able to do it with empty arenas. I think you can hear people cheering on the side. You can hear, like, there are people, if it's the production crew or whatever, it still makes it feel like you're part, and the angles they're using and the music they're using, all of it combines, in my opinion, to be a better product that they're presenting on their weekly show than you're seeing from backstage or Raw, in my opinion. And I like it.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there. I think what they've done is they've been able to find that balance. The thing that kind of bothers me is having the wrestlers in the crowd. I think that's a little weird, though I don't hate it. I think it's funny when it's used correctly. Like they got in a brawl a few weeks ago, and Britt Baker was beating up somebody with her shoe. Like,
oh, I lost you there, Aaron.
I'm gone. Okay, wait, I'm back. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Apparently let's talk about AEW. Vince McMahon shut off my feed. But but yeah, I mean, as long as they can incorporate storylines and characters like that, I'm totally cool with it. And I agree with you. I think they've done a great job from Daly's Place here in not here, but in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
They've done a great job making it look good, making it look big. And just something AEW's got right now that the WWE just seems to be missing. I don't know what it is. It's just, I don't know, man. It's just something different that they've got going on right now. And I hope that when crowds come back, they give AEW more of a shake, because if you look at those live event crowds, I know like AEW marks are going to rip my head off, but it's like those AEW crowds before the pandemic were really bad. The live crowds, you go and look at them. Hey, Monday Night Raw crowds were not great either. I get it. But it's a little bit different when you're an upstart and you're trying to get these people. I just want to see AEW survive. That's all I want. I want AEW to continue to thrive and continue to do well. Double or Nothing is going to be a big step to see where that goes from here, to see if they continue to do these empty arena shows. Because, I mean, we're waiting until, I think Vince McMahon, there's a report out there that Vince McMahon said he wasn't going to do SummerSlam without a crowd, which is very interesting because that's in August. Yeah. And I don't know, man. I think we're kind of pushing it a little bit for August. I agree. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, California, you guys still have stay-at-home orders. Like, we're another 3 months partying it up, brother. So I know
you guys are insane, but I mean, so is Texas. And look at the cases have spiked up because they relaxed those orders. So, you know, to me, in my opinion, I think it's a stupid thing to do. It's human arrogance to think, oh, you know, just because we want to will something to happen, like a virus or science things, then it'll happen. This isn't a fucking movie, man. People are really dying. There was a really good article that from a Uber driver in Florida who had posted numerous Facebook messages on his Facebook saying how he thought it was a hoax. It wasn't real. They were trying to control you, the government, blah, blah, blah. And then he got it and he passed it on to his wife, and his wife is now on a ventilator and might pass. And he actually says it in the article. I've come to the realization that my wife might pass from this, and I might have given it to her. And it was because he didn't believe. He's like posting all these messages about how, hey, this isn't a joke. This is real. It happened to me. I was like you doubting it. It happened to me. Please be careful. Put the mask on, blah, blah, blah. So to me, I'm like, we're not being dicks, or the world's not being dicks about this. Science is not being, they're trying to save lives. So this pugnacious, arrogant, obnoxious, condescending, hard-headed attitude that people have that, no, screw it. We're going to open up. Screw it. People need to die. Screw it. To me, it's mind-blowing, to be honest with you, and I get people losing money. I get businesses are thinking, but something like WWE, kiss my ass. Like it's a different situation, in my opinion. And they don't need to be showing that they can put people in the stands and risk their lives for the product. Because then now the NFL is going to start, because a lot of those owners really want to put people in seats and screw it. And the NBA, I think, is a little more logical about this, but other places are starting to explore this possibility. And that scares me, because people are going to go. People are going to go because they want to say, hell yeah, screw that stuff. You don't tell me what to do. I'm an independent person, blah, blah, blah. And then you go out there, then you get it and you die, or someone you love dies. And that's terrible.
Well, let's go ahead and just rip this Band-Aid off. I've said from jump that the WWE after WrestleMania, I was giving them 2 WrestleMania, and then after that I was like, all right, let's take a break. Yeah. Like, we don't need to be doing anything. Let's not do that. And Vince McMahon came out this week, or whatever report. Then again, it's another report. Who knows if he actually said this, but it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. That Vince McMahon finds that the coronavirus pandemic is an inconvenience, and that he thinks that people want wrestling and they just want it to go on and go on and go on. Right. I get that. Like, people need their entertainment. I understand that. You know what? You can rent the Invisible Man for $20. It's pretty good. You could be entertained by the matches. Yeah. Yeah, you could do that. Like, I just don't understand why you need to be flying wrestlers into Orlando and telling them, like, okay, we need you to wrestle for 12 minutes and then just get your ass on a plane and go back home. Like, it's so stupid. Like, if it were me, and it's not, I would take the first hour of Monday Night Raw, and you could have your live show if you want and just have people there. But the rest of the 2 hours, you can show like the best of Roman Reigns or the best of Becky Lynch or something. There is no need to be putting on a 3-hour show. It's just like, dude, what are we even doing here? Like, wrestling has always been there. It always will be here. Okay, we're going to take a few months off. Who gives a shit? I don't care. Like,
And especially, Aaron, at this time when so many people who are fans of the WWE are so angry about the creative direction of a lot of the wrestlers in the company. So why not take a break? Let people start to miss you a little bit, fix the storylines a little bit, and come back with new stuff. But it's, of course, it's Vince's desire. Look, and here's the deal, and everybody knows this, and please don't tell me that you don't believe this. Vince sees these people mostly as ends to a mean. They're not. Some of them are human to him, and they become close to him, and some of them don't. Some of them are just there filling a role, and then the next one's going to come along and take that. I've worked with somebody who thinks people who host shows are like trained monkeys, and they can get anybody to do that job. And so those are the people that, when they have the money, they can abuse you and use you up and spit you out to get somebody else in there. And unfortunately, that's the situation with a lot of people who have money. They don't see other people fully, everybody they come in contact with, as equally human. So if they get sick or they get hurt or whatever, it's like, okay, someone else will take the slot. And so that's the unfortunate truth about the situation. And I think puts these young, incredible athletes at risk for their lives, and their families at risk as well. Because if they catch it, guess who they're passing it on to first? It's your wife, your kid, your grandfather, your grandmother, or your wife's grandfather, grandmother, your husband's grandfather, grandmother, that kind of stuff.
And I see Grimash in the chat saying, they're doing the best they can. I hope they won't stop. I see that there, and I 100% agree with you. Make your money, of course, but if you can make your money, make your dollars. Nobody's going to make money for you. Yeah. So I'm just saying, if it were a situation that people could get out of, like Roman Reigns said, I'm out. I'm not coming in. I'm out.
Of course not. Yeah.
And not everybody's Roman Reigns, and not everybody can do that. But
right.
It's just not, it's benefiting very few people. Like, the only person I feel like that's benefited from the empty arena shows is Zelina Vega, who has been outstanding this entire time. Like, they need to give her a raise. She's been excellent. Yeah. And I think Drew McIntyre has been great. I think they've been really great. And I think that NXT has been wonderful with their empty arena shows. I think they're all doing pretty well. But, like, do I need to see another 6-man tag between Seth Rollins, Buddy Murphy, and somebody else versus Andrade and Angel Garza? No, I don't. I really don't. Yeah. I don't need to see King Corbin versus Elias. I don't give a shit. I don't need to see any of that.
Do we not need to see that?
I don't need to see any of that shit. But, you want to put Zelina Vega in front of my TV, I'll watch it all day. Right. I'm just saying, like, it's benefiting so very few people. Otis is another one that's benefited quite a bit from this break. And you're going to have that. Some people will benefit from this, but a lot of people aren't, because people like Bobby Roode aren't on the show. People like Roman Reigns, he's not on the show. But maybe a guy like Lashley can step up and get a world title shot like he's got now. Bobby Lashley's looked incredible over the past month or so. I'm really excited to see what he can do, finally get his title shot. Yeah. But it's just one of those, it's just, you have to weigh that. Like John Oliver had a big thing on last week tonight about the WWE and how they continue to put on shows and stuff like that. And there was a rumor out there that WWE had coronavirus tested no one, which was a rumor. I don't know if that's true. That was reported by What Culture. I don't know if that's true. I tend to think that's not true. Right. But if that is true, holy shit, what a nightmare. But yeah, it's just one of those things. You got to weigh that and see how it is. Like my company, I'm not going to tell you who I work for because I don't want to put them on blast because it's not my thing. But like, they're taking such good care of us that we work from home. We're very lucky to do that. I'm very lucky to work during this pandemic. A lot of people don't have that opportunity. I am very grateful to my company for allowing me to do that. But they're also not going to bring us back into an office for another 2-3 months at least. Yeah. So they're taking every precaution. And that's just something that I, as a worker for a company that's not working for myself, appreciate. Yeah. So that's just one way to do it. I understand.
It's not a crime to care about your employees.
It's not
a fucking crime to make sure they're taken care of, especially when they're giving you so much. This applies to WWE or any wrestling organization, to be honest with you, any organization, period. You can care about your employees. What the default to is the 2 or 3 that are lazy, the 2 or 3 that aren't focused up on what they need to do there at the job. And so everyone else has to pay for the 2 or 3 that are, not doing such a great job or whatever. And that's the problem overall that happens here. So yeah, I agree with you, man. I mean, I think like Grimash said, said this. He's like, if they lost a month break won't kill them for sure. And yeah, maybe they're afraid of AEW, but it's AEW, bro.
Yeah.
You're WWE. I'm sorry, it's
AEW
not even
should take a break too.
Yeah, that's a good idea as well. Yeah, but it's like a 10-year-old versus a 25-year-old. Yeah, the 10-year-old can get his skills working if he keeps working over the summer. But when you come back to playing yourself, you're playing basketball against a 10-year-old, you're still going to beat the 10-year-old. AEW versus WWE is a 25-year-old versus a 10-year-old.
I don't know if it's quite like that. But
I think it is like that, for God. You think AEW is going to be making deals with Fox? I mean, come on. This is $1 billion company, for God's sakes. It's not anywhere near where AEW. AEW is still essentially a organization.
Come on,
you've got
you got to give them credit, though. They got to deal with TNT sight unseen.
I do, but it's TNT, for God's sakes. It wasn't ESPN. It's TNT.
Hey, they got Snowpiercer.
Fair point.
Snowpiercer show, man.
And I'm not arguing that they don't have a quality product. AEW has quality product. I enjoy the matches. Our friend Jennifer Sturger, she works over there. Jennifer Decker, she works over there. And Cody Rhodes is fantastic. Came on to do the Star Wars preview for the Schmodown, for God's sakes. Cody Rhodes did. So that was awesome to have him on. So I love AEW, but I'm also dealing with the reality of the situation. WWE is so strong, so big, such a well-known brand across the world, that if it took 2 or 3 months off, look, the NBA suspended its play. People still are clamoring for the NBA. If the NFL network, if the NFL doesn't come back, people are going to clamor for the NFL. The WWE is essentially that kind of level that it has gotten to as the premier player in the world of professional wrestling. It does not need to cater to the situation of having to have shows every week so that people don't somehow lose interest in the WWE. I think it's ridiculous, in my personal opinion. Anyway, let's hit these last 2 Streamlabs before we wrap it up here. Aaron, we're coming into the hour mark on this. The Void with this Streamlab, very sad, of course, telling us that the body washed up on shore this morning. There was a body that washed up on shore this morning. Sorry, it was identified as former WWE wrestler Shad Gaspard. He said, "R.I.P. Shad, a real hero." So yeah, unfortunately, that's a story. It does have a tragic ending. That Shad Gaspard did pass away, drowned, trying to save his son, and he did save his son, his 10-year-old son, from the undertow there at the beach this weekend. So unfortunate passing of that gentleman who stopped an armed robbery last year by himself. He's part of that crime time stuff, so a little bit of difficult time in the WWE, but overall, an incredible dude.
Yeah, man. I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but he was Kratos in God of War. Like if you played the latest God of War, Kratos was modeled after his body, and he did some of the mocap for it. So he's forever going to be Kratos. That's amazing. Like he's not only is he a hero in a game, he's a hero in real life. Saving his son like that, hell of a guy. From everything I've heard and seen tweets from wrestlers saying he's just an amazing dude.
Yeah.
And also you can go on Collar and Elbow. If you follow them, you go on Collar and Elbow. They have a shirt for him now. Wow. It looks like an old school fight shirt. It says like Brooklyn's own Shad Gaspard. You can buy that shirt. It's $25, and all of that money goes to his family. So you check that out on Collar and Elbow. I'm going to pick one up. I think that's a good thing to do. If not, there's a link where you can just straight donate to the family if you want to do that. But it's just a very sad story.
Yeah.
But it is good to know that the family, it's terrible all around, but it is good to know that they do have his body, and they will be able to put him into a proper burial and all that kind of stuff. And just an awful moment for the family.
Yeah, agreed, man. Agreed. Let's move on to these last 2 Streamlabs here that we have. Hi Nellums donated. Thank you, Hi. Appreciate it. Hill Nellums. Sorry, Hill Nellums. Hill, good to see you on the Outlaw Nation Patreon last week. Great. Thanks for sending in this donation here. Oh, the Streamlab rather. He said, "What I like about AEW from the get-go is they're still investing in long-term storytelling. Page, Omega, Bucks angle, Cody/MJF, Cody/Archer. In a WWE world, Archer and Cody probably would have fought 7 times already." Thoughts there, Aaron?
Well, Lance Archer's in his late 40s or mid 40s, so I'd probably say he wouldn't be in WWE. That's not a knock; it's just the truth.
It's the truth.
I think you're probably right. You're probably right about that. They probably would have fought 20 times already. But the thing that really the person in AEW that I love more than anybody, and I will never give shit to, is Cody, because I think Cody generally gives a crap about the history of the business and how it works, and wants to make the business better. Sometimes Not all the time, but sometimes the Young Bucks make me think otherwise about themselves.
What a
I think the
strong statement.
I think the Young Bucks are kind of buttholes, and I'll tell you why.
Wow.
There was a spot during Fyter Fest where Shawn Spears hit Cody with the chair, and it was really controversial because he took it straight to the head. It cut him open. It was real nasty. And then the Bucks backstage, when people were asking them questions, I'm there. I'm at the presser. I'm watching them, and they're like, we gimmicked the chair, guys, just because you didn't see it. Like, you guys just don't understand. Like, you're gonna tell somebody that, like, please don't tell somebody they don't understand the wrestling business and how to take a full force chair to the head. Like, please stop. Like, I think the Young Bucks are appealing to a generation, like a younger generation that I'm not in the loop on. Like, my nephew is in the loop on. They're the TikTok generation. I'm out. I'm MySpace and Facebook. Like, I'm out. It's just something I don't understand, but I'm with Cody because Cody's a traditionalist. I love him. I love his dad. I love his brother. Yeah. I just love everything that he's doing, and I'll never be mad at Cody for doing anything.
Okay. All right. I think that's fair. All right. We got one more here, one more Streamlab that came through. Let me bring it up here. It is from French Taunter. He says, great show. It's been 10 plus years since I've followed wrestling. Strong Style has been a great way to catch up on what is happening and remember some of the good old days. That is great to hear, Aaron, isn't it?
I love it, man. That's the whole point of this show, is to get people to go back and watch these classic matches and then just really make up your own mind. Like, was this important? Why is this important? I want to check this out. Okay, I saw a match with Jerry Lynn. Now let me go on the network and search for Jerry Lynn and see what else I can find. Like, that's a great testament to what we do. And I'm always excited when people say that, like, oh my God, I forgot how great this match was. Oh my God, I forgot. This is like my favorite match ever. I'm glad you're talking about it. Yeah. That's makes our jobs a lot easier.
Yeah, I agree, and it makes us feel like we are doing the right thing, or we were 100% going down the right path for both of us, because both of us, we watch what we can of the current stuff, or keep up on the news of the current stuff, but it's the old stuff, the old school stuff, or even the remote, or the kind of newer stuff over the last few years that we like to go back and revisit and enjoy and enjoy the best of professional wrestling. That's what the point of this whole show is to make you fall back in love with professional wrestling, and it's great to revisit some of those matches like we did today with 1999's Living Dangerously there, seeing the match between RVD and Jerry Lynn. That's fantastic stuff. Oh, one more thing, which we should drop now and let them know. Bam! That's possible. That is a possible thing here. We are looking at merch for Strong Style as well. Look at that logo. Look at how beautiful it looks on that t-shirt there. Let's, Aaron, do you have a t-shirt live right now that you can show us? Yes, you do. Look at that thing. We are absolutely going to make this available if both of us like it. Shout out to, if I can I name drop the person that
Monograms and Moonshine, guys. Monograms and Moonshine. Come check it out. That is that's actually just my sister, to be honest with you. So let you behind the curtain. My sister is a master crafter. If I ever, it's just a thing that she does, like, for fun. My brother-in-law has a podcast, and she made shirts for their podcast, and people love them. And you give her an idea, she can do it. She's very smart. She's very good at stuff like this. And she made me an excellent Batman shirt for Christmas. And I was just thinking, man, like, eventually we could get some Strong Style shirts if I play my cards right. So, we just got to clear up a few things. We got to work on a design a little bit. This is obviously just a black t-shirt. This is mine. This is like the prototype. Rocha, you got a prototype on the way.
Nice.
So we'll just, we'll figure that out. But if people are interested, of course, we'll make it happen for you in whatever color you want or stuff like that. But yeah, man, it's a possibility. I've also been looking at 8x10s. I don't know if anybody would be interested in that. Like, 8x10 signed by Rocha and myself. Like, I don't know if that'll be a thing, but we'll see.
We'll get little bobbleheads of us as well. I'm down with that.
Why not?
Come on, figures. Plush toys, plush Strong Style plush toys.
Oh,
kids can go to sleep with us.
That'd be amazing.
But certainly
that would
t-shirts
be outstanding to have a plush toy of myself.
But this is something we're certainly investigating. I love the fact that Aaron's sister is involved with this because
now we're both gone. What in the world is going on?
Am I frozen? Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to keep going. But I want to get that. And if she does really great work for that, when I take a look at it, then I'm going to.
It's very creepy
for Outlaw Nation as well. Look at you there.
He's gone again.
Am I gone now?
Gone.
Okay, we're both gone. Well, I feel like I'm still moving.
You son of a bitch.
Here, let me bring you back out. How about
Nope,
that?
wait,
Are you
I'm
back
back.
on? Are you back?
No, wait, I'm back. No, I'm gone.
No, you're a black screen right now. There you go. There he goes. All right. Well, I'm
All
looking
I can
forward
see
to the
is-
new
I
place
gotta
you move
screenshot
into.
this at some point.
All right, let's wrap this show up. We're past the hour mark. Thank you all so much for watching us live here on the Outlaw Nation Network, watching Strong Style. We really appreciate it. Please follow Aaron at only Aaron Turner. He's frozen right now, so I don't know what he can say. But follow him there and everything that he's doing. Tweet at him and tweet at me what you thought about this incredible match and what you thought about our show and any matches you want us to cover. You know, Aaron's really good at responding to people who have matches they want us to take a look at and put down on the list. Any last things, Aaron, before we wrap up?
I think I'm back now. Okay, so tomorrow I will be on a conference call for Double or Nothing with Cody. So
Nice.
I will try to, on behalf of Strong Style, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I will try to relay whatever Cody said and get my questions in. I'm going to be on there with a lot of people. So
cool. And you're out. All right. Well, awesome. We look
hopefully
forward to
something
it.
from Cody on Friday, guys. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
We'll see.
I'm
see how
looking
it
forward
goes.
to it. And we'll let you know when we're doing the Friday. There you go. You're back now. We'll let you know when we're doing the show live on Friday. If you subscribe to the Outlaw Nation channel, and if you haven't, please do so. You'll get that. Click on that bell so it'll ding and let you know when the Strong Style is going to go up on Friday. We have to figure out timing on that, a live episode there. All right. Thanks everybody for watching. We will talk to you next time on another brand new episode of Strong Style here on the Outlaw Nation Network.